Come on in, come on in. I hope that y'all are well. Happy Feminine Friday. Come on in, come on in, come on in. And put a 1 in the comments if you can hear me clearly. Today we're going to be talking about why hard work is making you less valuable. It's going to be very contrary. Thank you, Lovey. Very contrary to what many have been taught, because a lot of us are still under the spell of hard work, or the spell of the value of hard work. And so we're going to actually talk about value. We're going to talk about how it's created. Hi, Lovey. We're going to talk about perception behind it and all those great things, okay? So for those who do not know who I am, my name is Elle Antoinette. I'm a psychological identity strategist, and what I do specifically is that I support my amazing clients. And the way that I help them is I support them in creating internal stability. Stability that supports a woman's boundaries, stability that supports a woman's behavior, her money, her love, and her leadership, in a way that she doesn't collapse under pressure. This means that she doesn't fault on her boundaries. She doesn't slip when somebody gives her a whole lot of money. These are things that she expects because she's very rooted in her identity. So that looks like her identity is not rooted in her achievements. Her identity is not rooted in, her being a wife. Her identity is not rooted in anything other than the full truth of herself, okay? So that's what we're going to be getting into. Why, in this new era that we are currently in, why is it that, hard work isn't valued anymore? And we're really going to dive into it. I got to step away for 1 second so I can go get some oil from my hands because my hands are dry. Y'all know I don't do dry hands. So let me go grab that real quick. Give me 2 seconds and I'll be right back and we can get started. And share this live as well with other amazing high capacity women, because we're going to really get into it today. It's going to be really important that people understand that the value is not in your hard work. It's not in your effort. So let's get ready to get ourselves situated. I'll be right back. All right, loves, I'm back. I'm going to do some rose oil on my hands today. I think that's what I want to smell. And put a 1 in the comments if you can hear me clearly. And also let me know where you're watching from. Baby, and are you snowed in? Are you iced in? Because I'm iced in where I'm at. And I'm so annoyed. I'm so annoyed. And then they talking about it's going to be more ice next week. Lord. I cannot take it. Hi, Lovey. Let me know where you are watching from. Today we are talking about why hard work is making you less valuable. And if you have been or you've watched me for a while, you'll know that the things that I speak about, you can apply them in multiple areas of your life. The things I teach you about the quality of yourself can be reflected and are reflected in the relationships that you choose, as well as the type of money you make and the way that you take care of yourself and your health. Because a lot of people don't realize the connection or the issue that women tend to have is that there's an impulsivity and there is emotional attachment to certain things, which causes issues with food, around finances, and around the fellas, around men. And so I tend to support women specifically. Women have gotten massive results in those 3 areas coming to work with me. They've made more money. They've created better relationships with the masculine and been able to sustain healthy relationships with the feminine, which is extremely important, as well as get healthier. So Those are my top 3 results. Arlington, first day out since last Thursday. I'm gonna try to get out today because I placed the order for some groceries and Aldi playing, and they finna make me show up. But don't worry, I like to show up. So now I got to come outside. I need my stuff, please and thank you. And I'm probably gonna write them a nice email because it's a policy they have that I don't really care for. That they might need to look at. So, but yeah, so I plan on getting out there today because I need to go get my stuff because I need my potatoes to make my potato chips. Okay. Because I don't want no store bought chips. I done messed around and ate some hot fries in here. See, that's how I know I done lost my mind. The jig is up. I'm going to get my stuff. So, but anywho, so like I said, what we're going to be talking about today is why hard work makes you less valuable. The key thing around this that you're going to learn in this experience, or that you're going to finally grasp in this experience, is that value is not created by effort. This is why you will see things like, a woman doing a whole lot of stuff for a man, and then he doesn't choose to make her his wife or to make her even his girlfriend or whatever the case may be, but she does so much for him. The hardest working employee who's working at the bottom, that's not the person that they promote to the top. That's not the person that they give the raise to. The hardest working individual is not the one who is the most valued. And I know that a lot of us thought that that was going to be the case because we were trained under the spell of the value of hard work. Having the value of hard work is a spell. It's one of the most craftiest spells that society has literally placed on us because it made us think that we have to struggle to attain any and everything, which is really not the case. Thank you, my love, for sharing, and thank you for being here. I do have one house rule. The house rule that I do have, when I dive into the things I'm going to be talking about today, what I ask of you is that if you receive value, for you to give value. So if you receive something in the space of this live, share it with someone else or hit like on the screen to return value. And it's not even so much a thing for me, to be honest with you. What I'm teaching you is a very key principle when it comes down to the law of sowing and reaping. A lot of us love to say that, you're going to reap what you sow, but you only like to talk about that when it comes down to negative things. The reality of the situation is you are walking around every single day and you are reaping what you've sown. And if you're not seeing value in your experience or your quality of life, it's because you're not sowing enough value. And sowing value does not always mean monetary. I sow value everywhere I go. I sow value in conversation with strangers. I sow value online. I sow value in my relationships. I sow value to babies. I sow value every opportunity that I get, because I understand that value is always returned to me, and it always works every single time, because none of us are above spiritual law. We are not above the program, and spiritual law is the program. So if you receive value in this space, share it with someone else so they can receive it. No need to try to gatekeep the information that I had to go through things to be able to give you. If I'm willing to give it away in this manner, share it with someone else who is going to need this, because it's very, very important. Thank you, Lovey. A lot of people think that, you know, everything is around what you do, and that's really going to just magnify all these things, but not knowing who you are and not understanding your value is very, very, very key. People who work themselves into oblivion are people who do not understand their value, or they're trained under the value of hard work. The oppressors of this society didn't work hard by using their bodies to be able to attain and acquire the type of money that they have. They use magic, basically. They use dark magic and psychological spell work to get us to do it, to get the other percentage of the world to do it. So they collected all the money off our backs because we didn't understand ourselves, so we didn't understand how to necessarily take care of ourselves. So we just kind of ate according to the way that we were trained. And then a lot of us have grown up and realized, okay, this is not the way that we're supposed to eat, because we're feeding a system that's continuing to make us sick. When you grow up and you start really realizing how the corporate system is nothing but a system that siphons your energy, it doesn't set you up for success, because it intends for you to be a slave, which is why you have to be locked into the contract in a lot of spaces for like 30 and 40 years, and they give you nothing for your time. They're hoping that you are so disconnected from yourself, your identity, and the truth of yourself that you would sell your time. You would sell 30 years of your time for money, when money is the lowest form of currency. The highest form of currency in this society, in this world, as in like earth, is time. One of the highest forms of currency in this society is attention. Society will use things to get your attention, to get you to believe certain things, because if you can believe certain things, then you will behave a certain kind of way. For example, a winter storm is coming. Of course, we're in a winter storm, so there's no quotations, but a winter storm is coming, right? You better hurry up and go get everything from the grocery store because there's not going to be anything there, right? So what do people do when they hear that? They run to the grocery store and they get everything in the grocery store. There's no consideration for other people who have families, who have all these things, because in your mind is, I have to get this for myself, because if I don't get this, I'm going to what? Lack. And I talked about that in my last live. You can go check that out, where I talked about how capitalism itself is not good or bad. It's literally a vehicle. You either are using it and using dark magic to get people to believe they need things that they don't need, or you actually are in the marketplace where you're teaching people and telling people about things that they didn't realize that they've needed to thrive. There are two types of industries happening in the world when it comes down to the selling game. I'm talking about online business, selling corporate, all that. They are either coming from a space of really wanting to support you and wanting to help you solve your problem, or they're wanting to siphon your energy. And they do it time-wise, energy-wise, attention-wise, and money-wise. Okay? So we're going to talk real heavy, like I said, about this value, because it's extremely important, extremely vital for you guys to be able to grasp. Okay? Hi, Lovey. So again, we're talking about why hard work makes you less valuable, or why it's making you less valuable. And this is your first time here, you see me looking down on my iPad at my notes. But the whole thing behind this live is that you need to understand that value is something that is not created by effort. Value is actually created by perception. And perception is driven by identity and presence. So if you're not rooted in your identity and in your presence, this may be why you probably aren't being valued in the experiences that you are participating in. And this could look like relationships. This could look like business. This could look like being centered around money. It could look like a whole lot of things. Okay? I'm going to say it again. Value is not created by effort. I'm going to tell you why and how today. Okay? It's created by perception, and perception is driven by identity and presence. When you don't know who you are, this is why you don't know how to negotiate a salary. This is why you will take whatever is given to you, because you don't know your value. You don't understand that. So we're going to get into that. So this is not a class, okay? This is not a class what I'm giving you. It's more like a how can I say this? An igniting. It's more like igniting the truth of who you truly are. It's going to make you question yourself, okay? Now, let me also say this so I can make this very clear for who my work is for, because my work is not for everyone, okay? Again, my name is L. Antoinette. I'm a psychological identity strategist, okay? So my work is not for women who are looking for motivation, reassurance, or emotional soothing. I'm not here for that. There are so many other spaces on TikTok where you can go and you can get that. I'm not going to be there for you, okay? I'm also not for the women who want tools without responsibility for integration. If you just want to collect a bunch of knowledge and not really put that knowledge to use, I'm not really the one for that, because women come to me when they want results. So if you're not results driven and you don't want results, this is not going to be a space you want to be in, because this is not an amen corner, and this is not a trauma dumping center, okay? This is also not for women who prefer insight over behavioral change. Women who come over here actually want to see something different in their life, all right? Also, this is not for women who want to be helped rather than guided. This is why I say, yes, I'm a psychological identity strategist, but I guide my clients. My clients don't need my help. My clients don't need my help. My clients have already sought out help in certain things for themselves. They've started going to therapy. They pay for coaching. They've invested in certain things before. They understand the power of investment. They've done a lot of shadow work. They've done these things, okay? So they're not looking for help. They're looking for guidance, and they're looking for support at the level that they are now. It's like, yes, I've been given this information. Yes, I have this, but how do I actually transform, and how do I actually shift my life? I actually provide my clients with transformation. That is what they pay me for. Okay. And I have active transformations that have happened in the area of quantum jumping when it comes down to money increase, when it comes down to, like I said, health being better, as well as you being able to create healthy relationships with the masculine and maintain and sustain healthy relationships with the feminine, because the village is required in order to thrive. I'm going to say that 2 more times because I don't think y'all get it. A village is required in order to thrive. A village is required in order to thrive. And I understand that a lot of us have participated in consumerism and convenience so much that we have gone this individualistic route of isolation. There's a big difference between solitude and isolation. Thank you, my love, for these likes and these gifts. It's a huge difference. Isolation positions you to become prey. Solitude is seasonal. Just because you're doing all this work on your own, you don't know if none of that work works until you get in relationship with somebody or you get in position to where you have to actually use these tools. Y'all too head heavy with the knowledge. And I'm not interested in those type of women, because this is not therapy. This is not coaching for beginners. This is not a healing space, okay, for processing without change. I work with women who actually want to change. So the work that I do specifically is for women who already function at a high level. This is for women who carry responsibility, who carry visibility or leadership in some form. This is also for women who are tired of managing themselves in order to stay composed, because they always have to have it together because they are the one. Okay? This is also for the women who want their internal stability to match their external capacity, because yes, we can go get a bag. Yes, we can go create these businesses. Yes, we can go and get this money. But can you manage yourself enough to get the proper sleep you're supposed to be getting at night? Because the health of your business is only, okay, as strong as the well-being of its CEO. And that goes for your relationship, the wealth and health of your relationships, the way that you parent. All of these things are major, major factors, okay? So let's go ahead and get straight into it. Why hard work is making you less valuable. And I know society tricked us and told us about the old hustle hard and worked hard. This is why people have worked so hard and they've attained these things that society has said that you're supposed to have for worldly status in order to feel amazing about yourself. And this is why you see them still treat themselves like trash, still associate in spaces where they're dishonored and disrespected. Though they have all this money, though they have all this status, though they have all these things, you're trying to figure out, why is it that you're still treating yourself so low? Because you are mistaking money for value. And that's the problem. Okay? So let's get into this. This is going to be really uncomfortable for some of y'all, and I'm going to be real honest with you. Happy Feminine Friday. Let me get my smiles out the way now. But happy Feminine Friday. But this is going to be really uncomfortable for some of y'all, because if hard work created value, then the most exhausted woman in the world would be the wealthiest woman in the world. But as you see, she's not. Normally, the one who is the hardest working is the least paid. Okay? They are absolutely not. So just kind of stay with me for a second. The marketplace, and when I say the marketplace, I'm speaking about the free space out here that you're able to market. The online space is a free market space. Human beings that you can market to, that's a marketplace, okay? And so the marketplace doesn't reward effort. People don't care about how many times you come online and you profess that your business is so amazing, it's so bomb, it's so chef's kiss, it's this and it's that. Thank you, my love, for these likes. And nobody cares about all the content that you're continuing to post about that and how hard you staying up to create this constant content. If the people looking at your content don't value what it is that you are articulating across the screen, they don't care nothing about how hard you worked on creating this one piece of content. They don't care about none of that. Just like in that relationship, that when the person does not desire you, it does not matter what you do for them. I don't care how much money a man has. If I don't like that man, ain't enough money in the world gonna make me stay with him. And I like money. I like being handed some cash. You understand? But if we're not in alignment and I'm not into you and this is just that, there is nothing that is going to make me participate in this experience, because that is going to cheapen the quality of myself. When you say that you're going to deal with somebody because this person has money, and that's solely why you're going to deal with them, right? Women who tend to operate from that space are women who don't believe that they can attain that type of money on their own. Because if you realize that you could attain that type of money on your own, you wouldn't position yourself to have to use a man to put money, you know what I'm saying, above yourself. That doesn't really make any sense. In order for you to thrive as a woman, you have to have this thing called radical self-value. Like, and that means you have to be radical about the value of yourself. Like when it comes down to you walking into talking about people paying you, when you're talking about people being in relationship with you, you have to have a radical view of how you value yourself, and you have to operate from that energy all the time. It's if you want to get the desires of your heart. Because you can't be out here begging and asking the creator for all of these things. In reality, you don't really believe you deserve these things, because everything is rooted back to your value. So the marketplace is never going to reward all this effort that you're doing. It rewards perception. How are you perceived? And see, and I have this conversation a lot with women who ask me things like, how is it that men, you clearly know how to get a bag. You clearly know how to do these things. Yes, I built a multi six-figure business from the ground up without hustling. But do I have an issue with people wanting to invest in me? No. Do I have an issue with men wanting to give me money, understanding that I know how to make my own money? No, I don't have an issue with that at all. They freely give me their money. See, and this is where I always have to make it very clear to women. If somebody is not investing in you, then the perception that they have of you isn't at the value to where they feel like it requires them to invest in whatever it is that you're selling. Whether you are selling yourself, you are selling a product, you are selling a service. This person does not perceive your value. Thank you, my love, for these gifts. And so the longer you stay in a space where you are not valued, the lower you will feel, and the more you position yourself to be demeaned, to be disregarded, to be disrespected, okay? To be dishonored. And that's just what it is. So when we're speaking, thank you, my love, for these gifts and these likes. When we're speaking about how the marketplace doesn't reward effort, is because it literally rewards the perception. And perception, again, is driven by identity, which is knowing who you are, being very clear on who you are, being very clear on your standards, be very clear on your requirements. And it also means you understand the value of your presence. Perception is rooted in identity and presence. If your presence is not powerful, people are not paying to see you, which is why people pay so much money to see see Beyonce, just to be honest, because the value perception. What I'm telling you, again, is what you can utilize in life, in business, and in relationships. Understanding your value shifts your reality. And this, I'm telling you, is a person who used to be, and I've told you I've lost a whole bunch of weight. I used to be a lot bigger. I've shown y'all pictures. My clients have done these things. Perception is everything. The way that you see yourself is everything, because it creates the perspective about yourself, which is the attitude that you have about yourself, the thought process you have about yourself, which creates the patterns that you participate in when it comes down to yourself. And your perception, your perspective, and your patterns make up your relationship with self, your relationship with money, your relationship with food, your relationship with men, your relationship with everything outside of yourself is rooted in your identity and your presence, the value of that. And if you don't value your own presence, meaning you can't sit alone and be alone. I just watched the clip and I'm gonna share it. I reposted it. But it's Dr. Miles Monroe, and Dr. Miles Monroe is saying basically, if you can be by yourself and be content with being by yourself, that's when you know you're really ready to be married. And I wholeheartedly agree. I wholeheartedly agree, because when you can sit with yourself because you understand the value of yourself, it's a different kind of element. You're in a space of wholeness. So when you're in a space of wholeness, then that energy is going to radiate, and you are only going to want to entertain another whole individual. You're going to get turned off by the man that says, I can't live without you. See, that's going to turn you off. See, little girls get turned on by that. Women who have not mastered themselves get turned on by that, just like they get turned on by, I'm going to get you pregnant. Thank you, my love, for these gifts and these likes. See, nobody want to keep it real like that. And a lot of that has to do with the fact that you want a man to come into your space and practice a form of ownership over you because you've never felt nobody become responsible for you. So you feel like him saying that is him saying he wants to be responsible for you, but you can't even sit with yourself though. You can't even sit with your own energy though. So how is it that you are expecting that somebody else is going to be able to sit in the energy that you refuse to sit in? Your own presence isn't valued, yet you want somebody else to value your presence. This is why I say to women who work in corporate at high levels, if you didn't negotiate your salary, don't come to me talking about the standards you have for a man. You won't even tell these people to pay you more. And it's more money in the back, but you too scary to say something. So you scared to say something to the people that pay you, and you gonna convince me that that you actually got boundaries with a man that you now allowing to pipe you? It makes no sense. Who you are in life is who you are at work, is who you are in relationships, is who you are. You can't run from yourself. You can't run from yourself. And women who don't value themselves work hard. And I said what I said. Women who don't value themselves work are the hardest working women. They work harder than most because they don't value their own presence enough to protect it, to not be any and everywhere, because the more present you are any and everywhere, the least valued you are. And you don't know who you are. Okay? So again, this live is not going to be for the woman who needs motivation. This is for the one who's already capable, but she keeps collapsing under pressure. And let's talk about what that looks like. She's high capacity. She's responsible. She's emotionally intelligent. She's extremely overgiving. Overgiving, but yet under receiving. You don't lack skill because it's your skills that's been able to position you to do extremely well and to be able to achieve things that the people that came before you were not able to achieve. However, though you don't lack skill, you do lack identity stabilization under stress. All that I'm the boss, rah, 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 while you at work, or rah, 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 while you in business, folds like a pretzel as soon as that man say, hey, you busy? No, I'm available. I'm not doing nothing. You want to see me? Now you go into that. All that I'm a boss, I'm this, I got this, I'm that, goes out the window when your mama call you and say, hey, can you do this? Even though you're extremely exhausted, guess who shows up? Guess what identity shows up outside of that boss? That's why men don't believe y'all. That's why men don't be believing y'all when y'all be hollering about you the boss and you this and this and that, because you go from being a boss to a people pleaser within 2 seconds, within 2 seconds of a phone call. Within 2 seconds of a phone call, that identity shifts real quick. This is why people don't trust you. This is why people abandon you, because you're a shapeshifter. And who can trust a shapeshifter? I don't know who you're going to be today. Thank you, my love, for these likes and these gifts. I don't know who you're going to be in 2 seconds. Because you shape shift. Your identity shifts under stress. Oh, they're not going to like me. Oh, they're going to look at me a certain kind of way. A lot of you, and let me bring this back to the deepest root of this type of spell work. A lot of us experience this growing up as a child because you did not want to be identified as the smart child in the room. So you played dumb. You played a dummy. Because standing in the fullness of the truth of your identity of being intelligent and being smart and being ahead of the class, it was too much pressure for you to be able to take. So you settled for being the dummy. Let me tell you something. That's a theme in your life too. That's a theme. I just want you to look at it for a second. That's a theme in your life. You settled to play the dummy. Now let's take that into relationships. Let's take that into relationships. Now we playing the dummy. When we know what time it is. We know this ain't it. We are well aware of what's going on. But we are opting out because it's too much pressure to face the truth, to stand in the value of self for real, that I will settle for being the dummy because it gives me a form of presence because I don't value my own presence. So I need you to be here with me. I'm scared to be here with me because I'm scared, and my rooted belief is if I stand here with me, I'm going to be alone. See, a lot of y'all do that. A lot of y'all do that. You hold yourself back from greatness because you have a fear of being alone and being on your own. Oh, ye of little faith. And then we'll holler up and down how good God is. And we'll swear and we'll argue with atheists in the comments about why they should be believing in God and why they all this. You sending them to hell, baby. You condemning them every which way for gospel that you don't even believe, that you don't even live. Not even believe, you don't live it. We know you don't believe it because you don't live it. Because if you lived it, people would seek you out. You wouldn't have to tell people. You wouldn't have to force things on people. But see, when you don't know how to sit with yourself, thank you, love, and thank you for these gifts and these likes, right? If you don't know how to sit with yourself, how do you believe that someone else is going to sit with you and value the presence of yourself? It's not possible. It's not possible, love. Okay? So let's get into, here's a very true core truth that a lot of women try to avoid. Thank you, my love, for these gifts, these likes, and these follows. I appreciate you. Y'all, I got a goal of getting us to 20,000 today in likes. So if you find value, please show value, because I appreciate you so much for being here to be able to receive this download that the Most High is giving me for y'all. So it's time to stop the small. It's time, how can I say this? It's time to stop settling for being a dummy when you know better. You know better. Okay? Thank you, my love, for these gifts and these likes and these comments. Here's a truth that most women tend to avoid, and some of them may not just be aware, but your nervous system is pricing before you speak. You're welcome, lovey. Your nervous system is pricing before you speak. Your nervous system is pricing before you speak. This is why, let me tell you something. This is why when you walk into an interview, what are you nervous about? What are you see now? Let's get into this, because God got me an interview for this job, and I did. What are you if that's true? What are you walking into this space nervous about when you are dealing with other creations? What are you nervous about? It's the nervous energy that lets them know that you can't hold $100,000 because you can't hold your own identity and leadership and being present in this moment and speaking the truth of who you are and why they need you, not why you need them. You giving them the energy that you need them. And they know not to pay you because of it. This is why it don't matter how amazing you are at what you do, they will not promote you to the top because you have an identity issue. See, when you scared this, one thing about me, when I was working in corporate, I ain't never been scared of nobody. And that's just the way, because of the way I was raised. I ain't never been scared of nobody. I've always been a person that is just. I used to say I was a fair person, but I'm not a fair person. I am a just individual. I believe that you should get what is just for you, just according to what exactly is happening in this experience. And so anytime that I felt like something was unjust, I spoke on it. I didn't care if it was my manager. I don't care if it meant I was going to get fired. Baby, I didn't care because you weren't finna play with me. Because this, even before I knew, I just always knew I could always get something else. You cannot tell me that this is as far as I can go. And I didn't allow people to box me. You come in and you're nervous and you have anxiousness. These people need you. They put the ad out. They put the ad out. They looking for people. And you coming in there with the energy of a beggar? By being anxious? What are you worried about? See, where's the truth of your belief? Oh yeah, I know the Most High word. I know God is doing. I know all this. Then what you anxious about if you don't get this position? Because it wasn't in alignment if you don't get it. But you going in there with that weak energy is why you not getting it. Y'all be wanting to blame the Most High when the reality is your energy not right because your belief ain't rooted in the truth. You don't know who you are. So because you don't know who you are, you don't know how to present yourself. You don't know how to position yourself. You don't know how to articulate the value that you generate so they can give you what it is that they're supposed to give you. So you say nothing. You accept pay and play. You settle for being a dummy by just accepting pay, because it's too much pressure for you to go in and speak the truth about the value you can bring in, because somebody told you that was cocky. Somebody told you need to be humble. Somebody told you needed to be small. And because of that, that is how you enter every single room. And that's why people don't see your value, because there is no value being presented in your identity or your presence. So they ain't going to pay you. They're not going to invest in you. This is across the board, from life, business, and relationships. You're not going to be valued, sweetheart. You don't value your own self. I'm going to say that again. Your nervous system is pricing you before you speak. Let me talk your language. Let me talk about men for a second. Your nervous system, let me say that one more time, is pricing you before you speak. Man just took you out on a date. He ain't said nothing to you the next day, the next morning. Y'all been texting every day up until the day. He ain't text you the next morning, whatever. Here you go. Your energy, your pricing, your nervous system pricing is telling on you, telling that you give it away for cheap because you anxious. And you know the first key tell of that? Because you got to text, hey, everything okay? I had a really great time last night. I just want to let you know. I just want to text you and let you know I really appreciate everything. You ain't never had nothing before in your life. And that man probably never want to see you again if he really is. If he really is in his masculine, he don't want to ever see you again. He don't want to ever see you again because you've never had anything. And the fact that you've never had anything lets him know you're not going to know how to appreciate him. You're going to be anxious as hell with him. You're going to be calling him, stressing him, worrying him. See, he ain't got time to be dealing with all that because we grown. We grown. You're letting me know that you will go for a cheap price because the cheapest price you go for is attention. And there is zero value in getting attention from a man. It ain't putting no money in your pocket. It's not spiritually enriching you. It's not mentally enhancing you. It's not emotionally elevating you. None of that. And yet you are out here doing the most physically to get more attention. Not understanding that the longer, and this is science, everything I teach is rooted in scripture and backed up by science. So let me give you the nerd part of what I love to do. Okay, so when you go into a space and you are consistently trying to chase something, it is absolutely running from you because it feels the energy of desperation. And desperation energy is how you get exploited by men. You telling them that you're anxious attachment, I'm an anxious attachment style, is you letting them know that you're easy to be exploited. Okay? Thank you, my love, for these gifts and these likes and these comments. It's easy for them to exploit you because you're so desperate for attention, because there is a lack somewhere in childhood or neglect of attention, and that became a pattern. So you began to neglect yourself. You began to abandon yourself in order to have the presence of other people. See, this is where we go back to again. You're the smartest kid in class, but you play the dummy because there's too much pressure for you to stand in the value of who you are because you're scared you're going to be alone. Do you really believe that if you leave the frequency of fear that nobody is on the frequency of love up here? Do you really believe that there is no one, you know what I'm saying, on the frequency of joy? If you make the decision to jump from the frequency of courage to joy, you really believe that there is nobody up there to join you, to meet you in the experience of joy? So you hold yourself back, you settle for playing a dummy? Let me get back to this. Your nervous system is pricing you before you speak. Let that land. Okay? People decide your value before they even hear your resume. You understand? People decide your value before they even hear your resume. People decide your value before they even hear your resume. People decide your value when you walk into a room and how you walk into a room. Because if you're walking into a room and you're tugging on your skirt and you're tugging on your clothes, it's giving insecure. It's giving an easy work, light work. Because all I got to do is come over there and tell you how good you look because you're so insecure. You keep pulling that skirt down. You easy work. You light work for a predator. All because you are not sure of yourself. Confusion is not a spirit of the Most High. This is how you know the Most High is not in an experience of confusion. This is how you know when you are confused, you are to stop, because clarity is your next point of command. And we don't move without clarity because you don't know where to go, which is why you continue to repeat cycles and go in circles, because you don't know where to go. People decide your value before they hear your resume. Before I hear your name, I'm going to know what's up with you when you walk up on me, because I'm very in tune with myself. Because I'm very in tune with who I am in myself and rooted in my identity, spiritually, mentally, and emotionally, right? Hi, Lovey. Because I'm very clear on that. I know when something is off. I know when the math ain't mathing. I know when somebody is lying to me, because it literally tells you when you tap into the frequency of understanding that the kingdom is within you, you stop feeling the need to have to be so guarded with people, right? That we have to be so, I gotta test you. I used to be one of those type of people. I used to be like, let me test you and see why you here. Let me see who sent you. Let me see who did this. And I used to swear that I was living according to the principle for Proverbs 4:23, which is to guard your heart above everything else, because from it flows life. I really believed that I was guarding my heart when I really was building a castle. I was building a wall. I was building a wall. And I was building a wall because I really lacked trust in the one I said that was my creator, that was, the Most High, that was this. I really lacked trust to be notified that somebody was going to play with me. But when I really leaned into my feminine for real, and I allowed the Most High to be able to show me and to let me know about people, that's when I stopped testing them. I stopped feeling the need to test them. So my energy wasn't coming in like as if I was analyzing them and I was doing this. Baby, I wasn't doing nothing. I don't do nothing but be myself. And I allow you to reveal yourself, because me being in the authenticity of my energy and my identity and my presence is either going to make you rise to the occasion or make you run for the hills. See, you have to be in tune with the type of energy that you have and how people respond. I know how people respond to me. People either really, really love me or they really, really hate me. And if they really, really hate me, it's because I mirror to them who they are. And I don't mirror in the way that people say, well, however you move, I'm on whatever you on twice. No, that ain't what I do, actually. Thank you, my love, for these gifts and these likes. I simply stand on business. I simply hold true to my boundaries. I am who I say I am. And if you aren't who you say you are, you're going to feel uncomfortable around me. Because I'm a truth teller. I'm a truth seeker. You understand? I'm a truth identifier. So you can't BS me. Nobody can play you without your permission, participation, or the fact that you are not paying attention. And I'm always paying attention to me. And in my internal universe, the Most High gives me signals. The Most High lets me know. You understand what is going on? So I'm never lacking. And this is me living out the principle, the spiritual principle that it talks about in James. It literally says the Most High will always give you wisdom. All you got to do is ask. Baby, I ask about everybody. You want to come work with me? We get on the call. I'm asking the Most High, is this an alarm? Before we even get on this call, let me see and feel if this is going to be an alignment. Y'all hold y'all questions for me towards the end. I promise I got y'all. Let me go ahead and ask before we even do that. So whatever I get on that call, that's what it is. I don't question it. I move on it. And every time I've moved on it, it's always been on point. Every time that I've disregarded it, that client was a drain, that individual was a drain, that individual was a distraction. So I have learned to listen. Okay? Because like I said, people decide your value without hearing your name, without hearing your resume. They simply can tell your energy. Men lie, women lie, numbers can be crunched, data can be skewed, but your energy will always tell the truth, and it will always tell the truth on you. And a lot of women position themselves to be prey because you don't pay attention to yourself. When you walk into an environment and you don't feel right, You don't need permission to ask somebody else, should we leave? You get the hell on down. That's your life. See, they may not have gotten the signal. They may not have gotten the call. Now, yes, once you get it and you tell them and they choose whatever they want to do, la-di-da. But you're not here to get proof for what it is that you already feel and what it is that you already know. When you need proof outside of yourself of what an experience that's happening within you, what that means is that you don't trust yourself. We have an issue of self-trust. And if we have an issue with self-trust, we have an issue because we're disconnected from our core. You're disconnected from kingdom. There are a lot of people who say that they are believers but have no connection to kingdom. And I'm just keeping it real with you. Literally tells you the kingdom of heaven is within you. You literally letting you know you're going to have to enter into the heart space. Women are very heavy. I'm going to be real honest with you. Why a lot of women who are extremely educated, and I'm extremely educated. I have a bachelor's, I have a master's, and I've told you guys I was in PhD school and I quit because I was in my ego trying to get it. And I realized, and I was like, nah, right? When you become extremely educated, right, you become a bit of a skeptic. Because when you're in education, thank you, my love, for these gifts, these likes, and yay, we hit 20,000. Let's see if we can get to 35. So when you're in school, you become a bit of a skeptic because everything is all about, was this documented? If it wasn't documented, it didn't happen. Yada, yada, yada. It was really big on research. It's really big on all of these things, which these things have its place. You understand? These things have its place. And it's like the more educated you become, the more disconnected, that you become from the imagination of things or make believe things. When in reality, that's not the way it's supposed to be. Your brain has two sides for a reason. You were never supposed to put logic above your creativity. You were supposed to understand how to balance and how to operate both, because you have both. You have the left side of your brain, which some people may refer to as the masculine side of your brain, where it's the logistics, it is the processing, it is the decision making, it is the critical thinking, it is linguistics, it is those things on the left side of the brain. On the right side of the brain is the creativity, it is the feelings, it is the intuition. It's all of these things, right? A lot of women who have gone into spaces where they become extremely educated are extremely disconnected from their creative core. This is why a lot of them go into the corporate system and they have a hard time and they start saying things like, oh, I'm not creative. When you were a little girl, you were creative as all get out. You were doing a multitude of things. You were doing a whole bunch of stuff. But now all of a sudden you're not creative. It's because you're disconnected from your core. That is what society, the dark element of this society, the goal of it, like it talks about in scripture, is for you to become disconnected from your core, to forget who you are, so that you lose power and you become a victim in this life experience. You are not supposed to be a consistent victim in this life experience. You understand what I'm saying? And so these are things that we really don't realize and we don't understand, but that is what society is doing. It is here to disconnect you from your core. So you having the logic, you having the creativity, these things are supposed to work together. This is exactly when it comes down to even men and women. You think about the masculine, right? And then you think about actually the feminine. These are the things that's extremely important, extremely vital. Girl, let me block you. Because I was about to make an example, but the most I said no. Okay. All right. So that's the thing that we really have to pay attention to. That's extremely vital and extremely important. You have to make sure that you are balancing both of those aspects. You are not here to come and become so educated that you disconnect from your creative core. This is also why you see a bit of confusion, or not confusion, or you see a lot of women who sit at the top seats in companies. These particular women, a lot of them have womb issues. I remember I was working with a client and she was saying everybody in her executive suite had gotten hysterectomies. Your womb is a creative portal, not just when it comes down to children, but there is a phase in your cycle. There are 4 phases in the menstrual cycle. And one of the phases of the cycle, when you hit that, there's a connection between your hypothalamus, your pituitary gland, and your ovaries. If you know how to move into that energy and use that energy properly, your creative energy is like maximized. This is how I have taught women specifically to make more money. I have a client who literally has built almost $1 million business by understanding this concept of me teaching her this so she does not exhaust herself on that journey, right? These things are extremely vital and extremely important. Society wants to disconnect you from yourself by making you work against yourself. This is why the hustle hard mentality and all that came on out. You work hard, you do this, you do that. They want you to work against your core so you lose power. When you start having issues in the womb, it struggles to create. Not just babies, it struggles to create in the mind because we have what? Brain fog. You understand what I'm saying? We have these things. So these are things that we really have to start paying attention to that are extremely vital and extremely important. Okay? You have got to start paying attention to that when it comes down to your energy, your body, all of these things. But like I said, energy is never going to lie on you. Okay? Energy is never going to lie on you. So people feel your energy before they hear your resume. They decide your value based on that. Okay? So before your credentials, before your amazing story, before all of these things, like people are making that decision. So for example, let's just give it real plain and simple. Your presence, if it doesn't speak safety and authority, then a lot of people are not going to value your presence. And I want you to think about that from a corporate position. Would you like to have a director or a vice president of the company if you're at a high level, right? Would you like to be under someone who lacks authority, which is leadership, and who is not safe? Would you like to be submitting to that person every single day, trusting them to be able to have your back in meetings, to be able to speak up for you? Of course you would not. Let's take this down a notch into relationships, okay? It is the exact same thing. If you don't feel like that man is a leader, see, this is what y'all be saying. If you don't feel like that man is safe, okay, what you're going to do is not value his presence, meaning you're not going to respect him. You're not going to be able to participate or submit to him and be in that space. This is why, again, it's very important for you to understand the value of your presence, you being a safe space, you being a leader in your own life in order for you to be able to recognize that thing. A lot of you cannot get access to the things that you desire because you do not reflect the type of woman who can sustain that. And that's just honest. That's just honest. And we really have to look at that from a real perspective. The second piece of that is anxiety. And when you approach a scenario with a bunch of anxiousness and anxiety, I told y'all, when you do this with men, you position yourself to become prey because it lets him know you're desperate, which means it lets you know that you're cheap and that you'll go for a low price. And the lowest price that women are going out here for is attention. Attention, which is insanity. And it is dangerous to your life because whatever you give your attention to, the longer you give your attention to something, the more your energy and motion flows towards that thing. This is how y'all start liking men that y'all thought were ugly in the beginning and that you didn't like. Girl, I didn't even like him in the beginning, but then he ended up playing you. No, attention definitely has currency. Attention for the male gaze has no value. Attention has high level currency because, and I'm going to tell you something, time is the highest form of currency on earth, but attention is the highest form of currency in society because society will get your attention through media, music, and other things like that to program you to believe certain things so you can act a certain kind of way. So attention is an extremely high level currency. But the attention for the male gaze has no value and delivers no currency, which is why women should stop wasting their time doing things to be seen by men. That is what male-centeredness is. When they're talking about being male-centered, it's not about you talking, I'm not male-centered, but I can talk about men. I can hang out with men. I can date men. Hell, I could get married again and marry a man. He's still not going to be the center of my world. Hell, I was married before. You still not going to be the center of my world because I am responsible, first and foremost, for taking care of myself and stewarding my own vessel. And it is improper stewardship for me to be trying to manage your vessel and not take care of my own. It is disgraceful. It is a slap in the creator's face, and nobody would stick around to be with somebody who would abuse themselves just to have somebody around. They're going to leave you. They're going to be done with you. And it don't matter nothing about your hard work, because the more you work hard with somebody who don't want you, it literally cheapens your value, which is what this live is about. Thank you, my love. This is why working hard is making you less valuable in these experiences, because you're under the spell of the value of hard work. Like I said, when you, going back to the thing with being anxious, when you're dating and dealing with somebody and you're acting overly anxious, you are presenting yourself with desperate energy, which is cheap energy, which means that you are on discount. You can't be claiming to be high value and be on discount. I'm just gonna be honest with you. There's no way for you to be able to really do that. You're not gonna be able to claim to be high value and offer yourself at discount. And you offer yourself at discount when you have anxiety around certain things. Now, what does that mean and what does that look like? Let me explain. Anxiety is rooted in two things. It's rooted in the unknown, fear of the unknown, and fear of loss of control. I'm gonna say that again. Fear of the unknown, fear of losing control, fear of the outcome. Yeah, all of that. Anxiety, right? The root issue is fear. Why is the root issue fear? You believe that there is a lack. That's why you won't leave the man that disrespects you, because you believe you'll never meet somebody else. You're so tired. You're so tired of getting to know people and starting over and doing this and doing that. If you're tired of starting over and getting to know people and doing this and doing that, that means that you are overly investing, because you should not leave every experience with a broken heart. You should not leave every experience feeling used and abused. You are going in with the wrong agenda, sweetheart. You are going in and you are giving yourself away. You just giving it out and getting mad because people won't accept it. But who want to buy something when you didn't get? Why would I buy this chicken from the man in the mall here to let me taste it? It's all right. It's cool. It ain't enough for me to want to go buy a whole plate. I mean, it's cool, though. It did what it needed to do. I'm trying to tell you something without telling you something. Thank you, my love, for these gifts and these likes. I'm trying to tell you something without telling you something. You need to pay attention to that. Your anxious attachment style screams, I lack attention. Give me attention. It also screams, when you get mad at me, if you want to use something against me, take attention away. Take attention away. Don't give me attention. Want to see me crash out? Don't give me attention. These are the things that we have to start paying attention to. When you have an anxiousness feeling around something, it's because you feel like there's a lack. You believe in lack. And you can't be saying that you believe in lack and saying that you believe in the creator of all things. You believe in the ultimate source of creation. You believe that the Most High is going to supply all of your needs. You are not in alignment with who you say that you are, which is why you're not receiving, because you're not in position to receive. Your heart posture ain't right. You can't receive when you got the... Why would I give you something and you don't even believe I'm going to give it to you? It makes no sense. Somebody said, this is the only question I'm going to read right here. It says, somebody, why do we use money to value ourselves? Because you under a spell. That's why. The only people who use money to value themselves are people who are under the spell that believes that money is itself is value. When you can look up on Google right now that $100,000 bill, or that $100 bill, that collection of $100 bills that y'all be hiding when y'all ready for the dollar crash, you're going to realize that money is made. Okay, sorry about that. I got a call. You're going to realize that money is made up of 75% cotton and 25% linen. That's what you're going to realize. And when you realize that you have been devaluing yourself for pieces of paper, because you don't understand that the real value is you. How do you think these corporations get the money to pay people there every 2 weeks? Because you keep showing up. Because you're the value. This is why they have a department called human resources. They are managing the human resource. This is why they're never on your side when you go to complain about the manager. Hello, they're there to manage the human resource. They don't care about you. La-di-da. That is the spell that corporate America put under people. True T. I'm finna tell. Let's break down the spell real quick. Real quick. Let me go and break down this spell so you can get some understanding, because I want everybody to be clear on this, okay? I want you to really think about the psychological spell that has been placed on people when it comes down to the corporate system. Number one, if you say you a believer, I'm just going to compare things to what you say you believe to the things that society has told you. Let's go 1, 2, 3, release them. So what we're going to do is start with the fact that you have to prove to the corporation that you're qualified. Now, it plainly tells you in scripture that I call you, then I qualify you. Right? That's what y'all love to say. They be loving to throw out these little scriptures in times and be like, oh, he called you, then he qualify you. Why the same system ain't working for the corporate system? Do you not realize that they make you prove yourself? You have to prove your worth. You have to perform in order to get a position. So not only do you have to compete, when the scripture lets you know that you have your own lane, it says you're supposed to have dominion. That's what it say. That's what it say. It says you're supposed to have dominion, but see, you can't have dominion over external things when you don't have dominion over internal things. If you don't have dominion over yourself, you can't dominate out here because you ain't got the confidence. You don't have the energy. You don't have the belief. So you can't move in rooms in a bold way where people are drawn to you because you scared. So when you go into a position to interview, an interview is a humiliation ritual. An interview is a humiliation ritual. An interview is a humiliation ritual because you have to go into this space and perform and sell why these people need to pick you when you were literally created to have your own lane in your own position and your own space, but you have somehow allowed yourself to be tricked into believing that you need to go beg these people to sit in their space. So not only do you come in and you perform this whole thing about how you're this and how you're that and how they need to pick you, right? And let's just say they happen to pick you. And so then you go behind closed doors when they pick you and they tell you how much money they're going to pay you. And because you don't know your own identity, you're not confident enough for you to go out there and say, well, I would like this salary. Is this negotiable? Can we do this? Can we do that? You just accept what they give you. You just accept what they give you. Thank you, my love, for these gifts and these likes and these follows. You accept the $75,000 that they give you when they really could have given you 100. They really could have given you 120. Because what you don't realize is the salary they're paying you from, there's always money in the back. Because you got to remember, most of them paying for your health insurance. They're paying a lot of money for you. So there's extra cushion, but you don't even ask because you don't understand your value. So you sold your soul for a cheap price at a discount because you were so anxious to have this job. You were so excited to just be in this room when in reality, this is small. This is going to box you in and they're going to pay you cheap. And you didn't sign the soul contract. What's a soul contract? Let's first get into what exactly is your soul. Your soul is comprised of your mindset, your heart set, and your willpower. What you giving to that corporation when you sign the contract stating that you're working there? What you giving them? You giving them access to your saying? And if you allowing them to stress you out, you are giving them access to your emotional faculties. You understand? You are giving them access to your willpower. You are selling your soul to meet their goal. That's why they don't care about you after 30 years. I'm just here to tell you. Thank you, my love, for these gifts and these likes. I'm just here to tell you. That's why they don't see the value in you. Because you don't see the value in yourself to where you would sell me your soul. You would sell me your soul for 40 years in a short paycheck? Jeez. Christ. Wow. Bring them more in. We need more who gonna build. We need more. All of this stuff. You're selling yourself at a discount because you don't understand your value, or you find your value in the education that you've attained. When you don't realize that the education that you've attained and the assets that you've attained in this life, or accolades that you've attained in this life, does nothing but give you worldly status. And worldly status is dependent upon the perception of the beholder. So yes, baby, your mama think it's amazing that you went got that college degree. But when you put it in front of those employers, they don't give a damn. They don't see the value in your psychology degree. But your grandma see the value of you graduating from college, because the perception is in the eye of the beholder, baby. This is why you always got to know your value. Thank you, my love, for these gifts, these likes, and these comments, because people will tell you who you are. People will show you what they really think your value is, because you don't know your own. And you will sell your soul for years and cheapen your experience and be begging them to pay you more money when you can leave and go and create a whole new reality you want. Again, anxiety, discount, you cheapening yourself. That's what's happening. Okay? Let's get into the last aspect of this, which is, or of this section, over-explaining. Over-explaining. Over-explaining equals devaluing yourself. Thank you, Lovey. Thank you for these likes, these gifts, and these comments. To over-explain means that you devalue yourself. You don't owe people the explanation that you give them. You give them that explanation because you spent your childhood explaining yourself, because you probably had to walk on eggshells in your house when you was a kid. Thank you, my love, for these gifts, these likes, and these comments. You don't owe a person an explanation on why you didn't call them back. You couldn't call them back. You didn't call them back. You don't owe people an explanation once you tell somebody no. You don't even have to hit them with "because I said so." No is a complete sentence. Now, if they want to come back and talk about your no, then if you feel like you value the relationship to where you want to explain that, then okay. But you don't owe them that. You devalue yourself when you start over-explaining. Thank you, my love, for these gifts, these likes, these follows, and these comments. You cheapen your value. Let me give you a perfect example. Same scenario I told you earlier. You went on a date with somebody. Y'all been texting him, every morning. He texts good morning, whatever. Y'all went on a date. He not texting no more, right? He didn't text. So you're like, okay, let me let him know that I had such a great time last night, that I was really appreciative of him taking me out and him doing this and da-da-da-da. So you call and you do all this. I really appreciate, doing this and yada, 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 because I really haven't been out in a long time and da-da-da-da-da. And I just really, and the restaurant you picked was so nice. What you're letting him know is this. You're anxious for his time and for his attention. No one has ever taken you anywhere nice. And you aren't dated often. Where do you think that man is going to place you in his mind? Do you believe that that's going to be a man who's going to value your presence? Do you believe that that is someone who is going to treat you well? Absolutely. You're going to be a toy of some form, and that's only if they're bored and they feel like playing. And that's what happens when they be going through the Rolodex of good mornings and trying to see who's going to bite and stuff like that. Literally. They already be placing you. See, men are not dumb. Men are not dumb by a long shot. They know where they've placed you. They may not tell you where they placed you. And they may not tell you that you placed yourself in that scenario by opening your mouth a certain kind of way. They won't tell you that either. See, we make the mistake of thinking that people are supposed to correct you and tell you when they see certain things within you. Only people who love you and care about you are going to tell you the truth about what they see. Everybody else is going to watch you drown. All while telling you they're praying with you. They're going to watch you drown. Because it takes a certain level of understanding and depth and truth and loyalty to be able to speak something to somebody you love, even if it's going to hurt them, especially when it's going to hurt them, especially when it's going to hurt them. So these are the things that you really have to think about. And it's not that, you know, you yourself don't have value. Hey, best girl, you yourself don't have value. But the issue at hand is that you don't value yourself. And because you don't value yourself, other people pick that up. And I don't care how much money you've made. I don't care how much therapy you've gone through. I don't care about none of those things. People can smell that you give yourself away for a discount. So your effort becomes invisible. Your presence is not really there. It's not valued. It's not valued. Hard work feels very, very noble because that's what we were taught, a lot of us growing up, right? Thank you, Lovey. Hi. So hard work, it feels noble. It feels like the right thing to do. It feels this, it feels that. But honestly, hard work often signals instability. Because let me tell you something, and tell me I'm lying. Tell me I'm lying with this. I want you to imagine a woman who works 3 jobs, right? This means this woman is not making any time for rest. Let's say she has no children. She's not making time for rest. She's always gone. She's always on the go. She's always doing this. She's always doing that. You know what people are going to be looking at her like, what is she running from? Why she don't want to sit at home? What are you doing all of this for to where why you don't want to sit down? You don't even have to work this hard. See, it start getting real different when a person you see, you start asking questions when you've been with somebody and married to them, and all of a sudden they want to go and stay way more far away from the house. Oh, I'm staying extra at work. And you looking like, why? I thought we were financially good. Why are you spending all this extra time at work? Because that all that extra hard work and that little extra time and that extra this and that extra that is not making sense to you. It's signaling instability. It's signaling something is off. It's signaling, this not making sense. Same thing. Hard work feels noble, but it often signals instability. This looks like rushing. Do you understand that rushing is a form of hard work? Ooh, I'm hurting some of y'all feelings with this. Rushing is a form of hard work. You don't believe me? I want you to think about when you were, the last time you were late to a meeting, late to something important, late to something like that, and you begin to rush. What happens? You get up, you stress. That means cortisol and adrenaline is active. You stress because you're trying to hurry up and get this stuff done. So you brushing your teeth, barely washing your face. You see what I'm saying? Throwing on something, not really caring about how you truly present yourself. Just kind of, you know what I'm saying? Doing all of this. Thank you, my love, for these gifts. Doing all of that. You rushing. You know what else you're doing? Getting an attitude with the people who calling you, who asking you questions, who ain't did nothing to you. You getting an attitude because your 2-year-old coming in there asking you a question because you late. And you rushing. But you yelling at your 5-year-old though. Like they did it. Big projection. All because you're rushing. All because you weren't ready. Okay? Rushing is a form of instability. Okay? So these are the things that we need to think about. Here's another form of instability. Urgency. Thank you, my love. Urgency is another form of instability. Proving yourself is another form of instability. Urgency is a big part, to me, a big sign of instability. When people are trying to rush you, when people are trying to force you, okay? When people are trying to say, if you don't get this deal, you're going to miss out. This is a level of urgency to put pressure on you. Car dealers do this. People in business will do this. This is the spell of the fear of missing out. Why do people consistently fall for the spell of missing out? And how is urgency, used as glamour magic in that sense? or to bend your reality to make you feel like you're missing out. It's because you believe that there is a lack. Let me tell you something. I ain't never missing what's for me. I can't ever miss what has my name on it. I can't ever miss what the Most High has assigned me to. I can't ever miss what is in alignment for me. So you can't rush me. You can't rush me into bed, into a relationship, into a contract, into me spending my money, until me getting to the door, baby. If it's me walking to the door and it's a man walking to the door, I will slow down to remember I'm not in a rush. Because what is mine is always available and accessible to me. I am not, my mother is. I am not rushing. You can't use the spell of fear of missing out on me. That don't work on me. A lot of you are allowing people to bend your perception using glamour magic to make their urgency your emergency, and you falling for it every time. Every time. Coming to somebody's rescue. Somebody call you, your nervous system shot. They call you with their problems. They didn't transfer that energy to your nervous system. Now they sleeping like a baby and you up looking crazy, carrying their problems. Ma'am, these folks' urgency is not your emergency. Okay? So let's get into this other aspect that signals instability, which is proving. Proving comes from your ego. If you got to prove somebody you right, you got to do that. That's your ego. That's your ego saying, I know this. I have the education on this, so I'm the one, and I'm going to prove to you that you're wrong. Biggest forms of instability. You know what that tells me? As a person who has the gift of sight, you know what it tells me? That tells me when you feel like you need to prove to me that you are correct, that lets me know that your identity is rooted in your education. So if, and in the event that your education is no longer useful to society, your reality is going to be crippled. And if I was a predator, I could prey on you that way. See, these are the things that I need you to pay attention to, because a lot of you wonder why you get shot when you hand over ammo. A lot of you hand over ammo with your projections. You tell me a lot about you by trying to prove me right, prove yourself right. You tell me a whole lot about you. It's going on YouTube. You telling me a whole lot about you. You can find it under the Feminine Fridays playlist on YouTube. You'll be able to find it. Probably it'll air tomorrow. But that's what you tell me about you when you proving yourself to me, to anybody else. Because who am I that you got to prove yourself to me? I ain't die for you. I ain't got a heaven or hell to put you in. What are you trying to actually prove to me? What you're doing is allowing me to see you. Is that what you want? Because a lot of you don't want to be seen. Not for real. Because you hate to be exposed. Hi, lovies. Thank you so much. Another sign of instability or signals instability is chasing outcomes. If you are chasing marriage, if you are chasing money, if you are chasing anything, I guarantee you is running from you. If you are chasing marriage, if you are chasing a man, if you are chasing money, if you are chasing anything, I guarantee you that it is running from you. When you chase outcomes, you lack belief. Oh, I just want this to work so bad. This relationship is about to take you to hell. And you are begging to marry this man. Because you're so desperate for marriage, because society told you that you're not valuable if you're not a wife. See, some of y'all getting married because you feel like that's what you're supposed to do. Or you getting married because you feel like that's what the next step is and what this is supposed to be. Nah. trying to prove myself to my mom damaged me so bad. I've been spending so much time repairing. I had to go through a repair process too, because I used to be trying to prove myself to my mom. Those days long gone. She know it too. And I love her down, but she know it too. She gonna do what she think is and what she know is best for her. That's what she know, you know. And we've grown into the respect of that because it is what it is. Because it ain't changing. So, you know, but chasing outcomes every single time will support you in not getting the outcome. I don't have any book recommendations outside of my own and outside of scripture. I don't the Ethiopian one at that. I don't have any book recommendations because I'm not a self-help person, and you don't need another book. You need to do the work. So when you are in a space where you are continuing to chase outcomes, it's on Amazon. You type my name, El Antoinette, in, it'll come up. It's about retiring your cape. No, I'm not Ethiopian. I was talking about the Ethiopian Bible. But when you're chasing outcomes, that shows instability in the form of lacking belief that you're going to attain certain things or that you can attain certain things, right? So it's so vital and extremely important for you to understand that all these things signal instability when you're rushing. And I don't know if you've ever experienced this before. Like if you really interact with a masculine man, and let's just say you're at the gas station and hi lovey, and you're walking up to the door and you're trying to hurry up and get to the door because he's holding the door, because in your mind you don't want to be rude because he's holding the door for you, and the man looks you straight up and says, hey, you ain't gotta rush. You ain't gotta rush. I ain't going nowhere. Stop and slow down. It's a reminder to stop and slow down. Stop rushing. That person is noticing that there's something in you that you feel like you got to hurry up and get there. And they're like, it's okay. It's cool. That a stranger recognized your instability. Imagine if that stranger was a predator. See, this is why you got to do this work. This ain't even no, oh, I'm just, you really need to do this work. Because it's life or death. Do you understand that? The life that we live in right now? Femininity is not just, oh, it's just, femininity is a survival skill, babe. When you know how to use it. Feminine energy is an energy that disarms. I have disarmed the craziest of men using my feminine energy because I understand. Okay? It is not only my essence, but it is a survival skill. You cannot afford to be out here outside of your feminine energy. And that's just truth. Okay? And that does not mean you're abandoning your logic and your structure just to be in your feminine. No. That means both elements are tight because you're very clear on yourself. Okay? When you are doing things and showing these forms of instability, such as rushing, such as, urgency and proving and chasing outcomes, you're basically saying that your system is trying to earn worth. Okay? And when your nervous system is trying to earn worth, the room feels it. People can feel when you broke and you desperate and you ain't never had nobody. People can feel that. They can feel you trying to earn your worth. Whether you think you hiding it, no, it's not working. You cannot convince people that you are valuable, and hard work is not going to make them believe that you're valuable. You cannot convince people that you're valuable while your body is still basically communicating urgency, desperation. Your energy still gives desperate, but you want people to value you. It does not work that way. You have to correct the energy if you want a different result. You have to get down to the bottom of your desperation because your desperation is rooted in lack. What is it that you believe that you are truly lacking, that you are abandoning yourself the way that you are? Because it is insane. It is insane. Okay? Let me show you how perception works. And I'm going to just give it to you real simple. Because we talked earlier and I let it be known Value is not created by effort. It is created by perception. And perception is rooted and driven by identity and presence. You knowing yourself, you being clear on yourself, you being sure on yourself, you being an authority, and you being safe in your presence. Okay? That is how you start to activate high level perception in other people. So let's go ahead, or other experiences. So let's go ahead and give this example so we can grab this real quick. So same intelligence, same output. I want to think about two women. Same intelligence, same output, different identity signals. One woman earns 50K a year, another woman earns 50K an hour. What is the difference between those two women? It's not effort. I guarantee you the woman who is working, who's making 50K is working way harder than the woman who is making, 50K a year. That woman is working way harder than the woman who is making 50K an hour. I can guarantee you that. I can guarantee you that based on the time span alone. That's 12 months of exerting time, energy. That's time, energy, attention, all of that for cheap money. Whereas this individual over here is only giving an hour of her time. And because her value is clear, then she's being paid $50,000 for that hour. The difference is not efforts. It's about how much stability that person brings in a room. See, this is why a person will pay a high-level celebrity this amount of money and not pay you this money, because you don't bring in that type of stability into that room. You don't bring in that type of stability into that room. So people do not see and perceive you to be that type of value. So they don't invest. And that is in relationships, that is in business, that is in life in general. Value is not stored on how much you do. You've got to grasp this. Value is not stored in how much you do. It's generated by how safe others feel around your certainty. If they believe you can take them to the mountaintop, they're going to pay you to take them to the mountaintop. But they got to feel safe around your certainty that you can take them to the mountaintop. And the reason why they don't pay you is because they know you're not certain, because your energy tells on you. Why is your energy telling on you? Because you're not sure of who you are. Outside of your job, outside of being a wife, outside of being that man's girlfriend, outside of being everything else, you don't know who you are. So because you don't know who you are, you don't feel safe enough to lead, which goes to presence. So now we have an identity issue. We have an issue with presence. Nobody's going to pay you because you don't see the value in yourself. Your value is not stored in how much you do. Your value is generated with how safe others feel around the certainty of who you say you are and what you are delivering and what you are offering. Period. When I was a visual merchandiser, I was paid pennies, but made the store and salespeople tons. I'm telling you, every time it happens to us because we don't know our value. I'm gonna give you a perfect example of something, and it was genius. I used to work at MAC Cosmetics, right? And I worked there for a couple of years. And when I look back at the time, when my manager hired me, I wasn't a great artist. I wasn't a great artist by a long shot, right? I had a long way to go. But her hiring me, and when you work at MAC, you had to meet like a sales goal, right? And so you had how much money you needed to make a day or whatever the case may be, blah, 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 blah. She didn't hire me for, hey, former MAC girl. She didn't hire me because I was amazing at makeup. She was intelligent, and she hired me because of my influence. She knew I was in a sorority. She saw online how people responded to me. She saw that I was a leader. She saw that people loved talking to me and communicating with me. She heard amazing things about me. And she trained me to become an extremely amazing artist so that I could sell those products and meet those goals for that company, which is pure genius. She didn't hire based on skills. You understand? Thank you, Lovey, and your charming personality. Thank you, Lovey. She didn't hire me based on skills because she could teach me skills. She hired me because of my identity. And my identity is what brought the money in the door, because I knew who I was. And I was 100 pounds heavier then. And I still knew who I was. That is how she hired, which is intelligent, because it is very similar to how I operate. I used to coach teen girls for 10 years. I coached teen girls for 10 years. Most people would say, oh, I'm mean, which back then would say that I was mean and I was tough and I ran a strict program. I did. But the children that I picked to be on my team, all of them weren't the best dancers or the best steppers or this and that. I chose the children that didn't quit. That was my logic. See, my best friend chose for other reasons. See, we worked together. She had her set of reasons. I had mine, but it both connected, right? So what ended up happening was, when I would see a child that wouldn't quit, that let me know that that child had endurance. That let me know that that child wanted to be here. That let me know that that child was willing to learn. And me and my best friend took a group of girls at a school where other coaches was like, oh, they was rejects from my team. Baby, I live for the underdog. I live for the underdog because I was the underdog. So I live for people to tell me that I can't change something into something great. By the time, within a year in, months in, of us coaching those girls, they became an award-winning team. They went around the city and they won awards back to back to back to back. Those girls got that school recognition in the city. Those girls carried the school on their back. These are the same girls that they said told me there was reject. See, I like when people tell me that, oh, this is, because I'm going to show you what it is. Because you can't tell me what I see. So the thing is, when I see your identity is strong, and I see you a leader, and I see you stand on business, and I see you don't quit, and I see this, and I see you got it in you, I can do something with that. They don't see it in you. That's why they're not doing nothing with that. That as in you. You don't position yourself for them to see this within you, because it's very vital and extremely important for you to be standing on business. So are you saying that weight doesn't matter? I never said that. Where did you hear me say that? I never said that at all. Weight matters for your health more than anything. I'm not going to even talk about weight on the vanity space. I used to be 100 pounds heavier. It's not about a vanity space when it comes down to weight. It's about your health at the end of the day. So I ain't going to tell you that, because it definitely matters. It definitely matters, okay? So let's get into this space right here. Again, value is not stored in how much you do. It's generated by how safe others feel around your specific certainty. So most women specifically, right, they don't lose value because they're unskilled, okay? Hold that question for me, Lovey. I'm almost done and I'll answer for you. Most women don't lose value because they're unskilled. They lose value because their identity collapses under pressure. You go from being this big boss that's doing this to becoming a people pleaser within seconds, because you don't want to stand on business, because you don't want to make somebody feel uncomfortable. These are the same women that say, I don't want to be mean to him. I don't want to be mean to him. He just showed you he don't care nothing about you and you worried about his feelings. I'm not telling you to be mean to him, but what I'm saying is, are you really having consideration for somebody's feelings who ain't thinking about you? Well, let me just check on him and see if he all right, because, I mean, he normally say something. He ain't said nothing. Why are you checking on somebody who ain't said nothing to you? Sit back and find out. Sit back and relax. You're going to find out. You're going to find out what, trust me, what you need to know going to always find you. Always. Always. You don't even have to go looking for it. It's going to find you. Okay? So like I said, most women don't lose value because they're unskilled. They lose value because their identity collapses under pressure. This looks like lowering your boundaries, people pleasing, over delivering, emotional leakage. The moment that you literally abandon yourself, the market adjusts your price. The minute that you abandon yourself, the market adjusts your price. The minute you lower your boundary, now I see that you don't stand on business and I can do this again. That's what you subconsciously train me. That's what you train me to know subconsciously about you, is that because you will fold on this, you'll fold next time. And that's how y'all begin play, because nobody can play without your permission, participation, or the fact that you ain't paying attention. That's really what it is. In the moment you abandon yourself, your market price. You know, the market adjusts your price. Oh, okay. Let me tell you something. I've heard a man say to a woman, and I was taken back. Do you mean? He basically let her know, I really wish you would have let me work harder for you. Excuse me? That man said to this woman, you know, you such a baddie and you don't even know it. And I just really wish you would have let me work harder for you. So you mean to tell me you've given this man all of your good resources, your time, energy, attention, and money too, because there's no way you to give out no money if you spent this much for him to be able to say this to you. So you mean to tell me you've given him all of this value, and he says, I wish you would have let me work harder for you. How is he a manipulator and a gaslighter? See, not how is he a manipulator or a gaslighter? Because how does a man get access to your time, energy, attention, money, or body, or beauty without you saying yes and giving permission to that? Why would I get mad at a man for taking a free chicken that the Asian man is offering? And when he decides, why would I get mad at him that he don't want to buy the meal? How is he a gaslighter? He didn't treat when he ate my chicken. He didn't guarantee that he was gonna buy a plate from the Asian stuff, the restaurant. That didn't guarantee that. This is why you got to be wise with your samples. You got to be smart about understanding your threshold about what you can afford to give away. You understand? That's the thing. It's not about his wordplay. It's not even about the wordplay. It's not about him at all. If you take him out of the equation, there's no way that he could get access to a woman's anything if she didn't allow it. And a man can't drain you from one experience. You have to be with him over time. So if you allow him to drain you over time, then, you know, it's horrible that he would do that. But the reality of the situation is people, and it's the equivalent of human nature when we go to the store and we try samples and we know doggone well we ain't buying. I know I be in Costco trying all the samples. I'm not finna lie to y'all. I be in Costco trying all the samples. I be in Whole Foods and Sprouts trying all the samples I want to try. That don't mean I'm buying it. I just want to try some. And I'm being so for real. I'm being so for real. That's how some of them be. That's how so many women be. I just wanted to try some. Don't let them try you. That's the thing. Try everything but me, baby. Try everything but me. That's my rule. I don't play that. Try everything but me, sweetie. Okay? So that's the thing, folks. Like if you giving, you giving, I'm taking. That's how most people are. Thank you, my love. That's how most people operate. So the minute that's why you can't abandon yourself, because the minute you abandon yourself, the market adjusts your price and calls you cheap. Every time you lower your boundaries, cheap, people pleasing, cheap, code switching, cheap, over delivering, cheap, emotional leakage, cheap, 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 cheap. Every day you spend trying harder is a day you are actively training the world to undervalue you. Hold y'all questions for the end. I got y'all. I'm almost done. Every day you are trying harder is a day that you are actively training the world to undervalue you. You aren't just losing money, baby. You are compounding on the reputation of being the one who over-delivers for the least and never receives the most. That is an expensive identity to maintain because it drains you of your most vital currencies: time, energy, attention. And if you don't have time, energy, and attention, you can't even put yourself in a new reality to create more money, which is why you can't get ahead. You can't quantum jump into a new tax bracket, which I got a live on that. You can quantum jump into a brand new tax bracket, but you won't, because what you do with your time, energy, attention, and where you allow it to be siphoned is a big issue for a lot of women. Seriously. That is the most expensive identity to maintain, and a lot of y'all are not able to keep up. So this is where most of coaching falls short in the industry. I'll be honest with you. Coaching defines behavior. Healing is all about emotion. Identity strategy, which is the work that I do, is a psychological identity strategist, focuses on stabilization under stress. This ain't no switch up. This is, I said no and no is no. Thank you, my love, for these gifts, these likes, and these comments. This is, I don't care if you don't talk to me no more. I'm still sticking to my standards. I don't care if you don't like me no more. I'm still standing on business. I don't care if you don't agree. But what I said is what I said. Those are the type of women, that's the type of women they become after they work with me. And they start getting all the things they want. They start making more money because they ain't scared to speak up and stand on that. They start getting the type of men that they want because they start saying, hey, I don't like you. This cool and all. But it's not for me though. So I ain't even gonna waste your time. We're gonna waste no time. And let's keep it roll. Let's keep the rotation going on. It's been beautiful. Thank you. Good night, New York. Okay? Women start getting healthier because they stop making excuses. They stop feeling like they need the weight as an emotional coat. I wore anger like a coat. Thank you, my love, for these gifts, these likes, and these comments. I was 100 pounds heavy because I wore my anger like a coat. I ate my emotions. When I became clear on who I was, I no longer needed the cushion to the protection to eat my emotions. I didn't need the protection of the extra weight to hide me from people seeing me, from being exposed as the little hurt bird that I was, masking around like a really, really angry woman. Nah. These are things that we have to pay attention to. I don't help women become confident. That's not the work that I do. That's not what I'm here for. I guide women to become non-collapsible. This means that motherhood is not collapsing you because you understand that you have to fuel the woman that fills the roles, and you don't compromise on that. That means that you understand that when it's time for you to have quiet time as a mother, the people in your house understand that. They honor that. They respect that. Because in order for mother to teach, mother has to rest. Mother has to rejuvenate. You understand? In order for mother to manage, she has to manage self. She has to master self. Okay? So like I said, I guide women to become non-collapsible. So this means when somebody comes to you and say, hey, I have $1 million project that I need you to work on. And the fact that nobody has ever given you $1 million project, guess what you're not going to do after you work with me? You're not going to collapse. You're going to be like, okay, I'm ready for it. This has been my moment for life. What took you so long? I've been waiting on y'all. I've been waiting on y'all. Thank y'all. Yay, 61,000. I've been waiting on y'all. I knew this day was coming. That's why I don't understand why y'all be being so shocked and y'all be saying that God is this and God is that. As soon as you meet somebody, a man come in your life, I want to marry you and pay and take care of you and provide and do everything for you. Oh my God, is he real? I think he being fake. I think this. Baby, I'm like, what you been waiting on? About time you got here? Wonderful. Great. I have a whole plan of what this money is going towards. I want land. I want this. This is why I want this. This is the plan I have for. I ain't playing. When men come ask me, I swear to you, every man I know that's dating me, he know. First thing, what is it that you really land? Land. And then I want a house on that land, but I don't want the house if I don't own the land. Yep. I want a compound. I want some property in another country because when it gets too cold, I want to have the option to be able to move around. See, I'm straight up about what I want. Either we could roll with it or we can't. I understand. But it also, and I've told you guys this, I have a TikTok clip that I posted over there. Y'all need to burn y'all list. Y'all got all this list and stuff that y'all want for men, what they should be. You should have a vision for your life. Either the man fits the vision or he don't. A perfect example of this is this. I told y'all I want land. I want more land. I would like property on the land. I would like this. So I don't date men who don't have in the next 5-year plans. If they not talking about land in a family compound, we ain't got nothing to talk about. I don't want to be with you. I don't even want to get with you and find out you got some qualities I think I might like. And I might trick myself into thinking I like you. And the reality is you can't really fit into the vision. I don't see how you, I don't see land in your vision. That's cool. You ain't for me though. So I only deal with men who either have land or are prepping to purchase land for compounds. See, I don't play no games. I don't play no games about that. Dead serious. Dead serious. Do you see where the world is going? Y'all talking about dates? Build me. Let me get back to this because y'all done got me all off task, man. Listen, I guide women to become non-collapsible. When a man say I can't do all that, I'm not folding on my boundaries. I don't see anything wrong with a prenup. But that's to each your own. That's to each their own with that. Okay? When identity stabilizes, behavior automatically follows. Behavior automatically follows. And this is usually where women tend to ask me, how do I stabilize my identity? Not conceptually, but actually under pressure. What does that look like? Well, you got 2 pathways where I can support you in doing that, okay? It depends on how acute this feeling is for you at this current moment, okay? If your identity is collapsing in real time, and if you know exactly what you should do, but your body tends to override you anyway, that means you don't need more awareness because you already know what you need to do. You're just not doing it. You need an interruption. Now, I just opened the Pattern Interruption Lab as of yesterday. I have a few women that's in there now and a few women that's coming in next week because we have our first actual session on February the 5th. I have 2 more spots available for women to come into that community. Shanita is in that community. You see her in here now. So it is absolutely imperative. If you know that your identity is consistently collapsing, you become the people pleaser, you become the person who has no boundaries, you becoming this, and you know you got a lot on you, you got a lot that you're doing, you got a lot to lose, you cannot afford to keep going like this. You are going to have to interrupt this pattern. The Pattern Interruption Lab is 28 days. It is 4 weeks of you working directly with me, and we are dealing with your patterns. One of the rules in the 28-day community is that you cannot say because. The word because is banned. This is what happens. Women will say, well, I did this because, or he did this to me because. No, we're banning it. I did this. He did this. I feel this and I don't want to feel this no more. So how do I stop feeling this? By eliminating because and dealing with the actual mechanism, okay? So in this 28-day live correction container where I'm going to be working with an extremely small group of women to interrupt the pattern immediately at the moment that it activates, okay? So before you start explaining, before you start people pleasing, before you start code switching, before you start over giving, before the collapse, I'm going to give you something that's going to support you. It's a 60-second window that's going to help you from shifting that pattern. Because here's the thing that you got to understand. You won't always do your default programming. If you grew up in a household that told you when somebody arguing with you, you argue back, unless you've trained yourself on conflict resolution and patience, then you are going to argue back. You're going to always go back to your default. The Pattern Interruption Lab helps you interrupt that default and reprogram yourself to do something completely different to get a better result. That is what this program is going to do for you. The program itself is $888. You can get a Klarna, Affirm, and Afterpay. There is an option for you to pay $222 to hold your spot, and then you make payments within the programs of two payments, okay? So if you're interested in the program and paying it in full or using Klarna, Affirm, and Afterpay, you can click the link in the bio to get access to it. If you want the $222 to hold your spot, you have to DM me the word spot. I'm going to send you a link. Once you get the link is going to expire in 2 hours. Don't ask me for the link if you're not going to use it, because it's going to expire in 2 hours. Okay? You can pay the $222. You're going to get your information. You're going to get your spot to come into the community, because, I'm talking about as soon as you have a moment of activation, like, oh my God, I'm about to people please, you immediately going to come into the Telegram group and say, this is what I'm feeling. I'm going to give you exactly the 60-second window that's going to help you get something different, to get a different outcome. I'm going to help you reprogram, literally rewire your nervous system so you can stop. Because a lot of your nervous systems are wrecked because you have not rewired the defaulting programming. Okay? And you literally are going back to that every single time. So this is not content that we doing in this. This is not coaching. This is real time behavioral correction. And the way you correct it is by getting to the root of the belief. The root of the belief of your people pleasing, the root of the belief of your overgiving, because all of these things, you are finding value in doing these things for other people, and you are not getting value returned to you. And I'm telling you, that's killing your essence as a woman. What I'm talking to you about is life and death. A lot of y'all can't handle somebody draining you. That's going to be the life of you. Wake it up. Okay? So come on into the program. If you're interested, shoot me that. We can work from there. Now, let's just say you're in a space, if you're listening, you're thinking, you're like, okay, I'm not collapsing. I'm just tired of the same cycle because I'm exhausted emotionally. Well, then you want to come into emotional foundations, which that is your right entry point. Okay. Foundations, what that's going to do is it's a nervous system based audio course. Why is it not a video course? Because your nervous system can't take no more video. You didn't took enough notes. You ain't did nothing different. You got a book. You got books full of notes. Don't play with me. You got 12 notebooks. You done wrote down stuff I gave you. You done wrote down stuff from other folks. And you have all this knowledge, which is fine. But you are not doing anything with it. And that's not fine. So what Foundations is going to do is going to recalibrate your nervous system and your internal standards. Okay, so that your identity doesn't need to collapse under pressure anymore. That is what that is going to do for you. Okay, that is going to support you. Foundations helps you build stability. The lab is going to help you interrupt the collapse. Okay, so if you are in an active collapse where you keep collapsing and going back to this old thing, then you need to come into the lab. If you are stable, but you keep repeating the same patterns, then you need to go ahead and get into emotional foundations. Like I said, it's audio based. You can listen to me while you're cooking, while you're working out, while you're sleeping. This is a big rewire of your nervous system, which is extremely important. Either way, whatever you choose, you're going to stop paying for this pattern. Okay? With your energy, with your money, and with your sleep. If you really about this life, you can get that with Klarna Affirm and Afterpay. It's $333. You can click the link in the bio to get access to that. Let me tell you why this is so important for you to do. If you really are trying to create wealth, now I'm finna talk to you heavy, because I ain't talking about, making money is one thing, but creating wealth is something different. Creating wealth that's generational looks like, number one, yes, financial resources. It also looks like emotional fulfillment. It looks like time freedom. It looks like healthy relationships. It looks like growth and purpose. If you want to create wealth, long-standing wealth for yourself, your lineage, okay? You got to understand that wealth is a byproduct of a stabilized identity. You will never be able to hold wealth if you don't stabilize your identity, because stabilization is how you hold power. That's how you hold power. You're stabilized, okay? And I want to give you a perfect example. You can't halfway plug your charger into the wall. You can't halfway plug your charger into the wall and think it's going to give power to your phone. That's not the way this goes. The way it's going to get power to your phone is if it's stabilized and it's in the proper position. Again, wealth is a byproduct of a stabilized identity, which this is what it looks like, because money comes from coherence, you being in alignment. Leadership follows regulation, okay? Love follows boundaries. And when you stop leaking energy, people stop questioning your value. When you stop leaking energy, people stop questioning your value because your presence is the product. Your presence is the product. Your presence is the product. This is why men don't like to be alone, or why men will be with a woman who they cannot stand and stay married to her, because presence is the product. And because you don't see the value in your presence, you're cooked. Money follows coherence. Leadership follows regulation. Love follows boundaries. Okay? These things are extremely important. Thank you, my love, for these gifts, these likes, and these comments. Okay? That's why, as my position as a psychological identity strategist, I guide these high capacity women to stabilize who they are internally, so that their money, so that their boundaries, so that their love, so that their leadership doesn't collapse under pressure. For real, this ain't motivation. This ain't mindset. This is identity architecture. This is going to determine if you're going to be able to thrive in this life and stand. So I'm not telling you no small stuff. I'm telling you the big stuff that matters. Society is telling you you need to accumulate more. But once you accumulate more and you don't know who you are, you can't sustain what you've accumulated. That's the problem, okay? So we have to get down to the work. So if you're feeling exposed, or you felt exposed in some form or fashion in this live, it's not shame. It's just recognition. It's recognition. You don't need to work harder. You need to become internally solid. That's the only way you're gonna survive under this. Be real careful with my words. Under this administration, under the new era that we've entered into, the only way you're gonna survive and thrive is that you're gonna have to become internally solid. So if I name something for you today in languages that you've never heard of before, you know exactly where you need to go. Click the link in my bio. Either come into the lab. I got 2 more spots. If you like, okay, I can't do the 888 right now, but I can do the 222. Shoot me a DM that says spot, and I'll shoot you the link. That will expire in 2 hours. You take care of that. You coming immediately into the Telegram group. You coming immediately to getting your tools. You immediately getting the 20 interruption toolkit that supports you. Every time you about to start acting up, I got something right there in your hand for you to stop you. So not only do you get access to me, but you get access to the tools as well. Foundations is $333. You can get that with Klarna, Affirm, and Afterpay. Now, I will tell you this. If you have outside things, you can look up there. I have Loving the Nervous System if you have attachment issues. Don't spend your life identifying yourself by your attachment style. Attachment theory is a theory. Stop making it your reality. You're not supposed to be attached to anything of this world. That's why you have the issue at hand. You're not even attached to the person, the money, or whatever you think it is. You attach to whatever you feel like that money, that person, that state that you believe that money, that person, or whatever is going to give you. And you have to detach from that if you really want to thrive as a woman. Because if not, you're going to spend your life chasing and always being disappointed. So deal with your attachments. And if attachments is your issue, click the link in the bio and get Loving the Nervous System, the Science of Attraction and Feminine Magnetism, and you can get that for $222, okay? And you can get that with Klarna, Affirm, and Afterpay. So there's several products up there to be able to support amazing women. So, and also my Substack, mention your Substack. One of your articles really spoke to me. Yes, and my Substack. You can go right over there and sign up for my paid or my free Substack. The paid is where they get the juice. Free is where you get amazing awareness. So go over there to Substack because I love to write it out. I got 2 Substacks. You'll get over there and see the second one if you are following me on Substack, so you'll be able to get access to both of them. I have one where I speak specifically about dark feminine, and that's the Black Sanctum. But the one that I speak where I give a lot of wisdom, spiritual knowledge, and different things like that, it's on the Red Knowledge Tree. So you can click the link in the bio to get access to that as well. Any questions, y'all? Any questions before I get ready to go? Because I got to get out of here and head somewhere. Any questions? You can click the link in the bio, like I said, to get access to any of these things. How do you deal with jealous supervisors and coworkers? You don't deal with them. That's one. As one, you don't deal with them. That's first and foremost. So if you don't deal with the energy of jealousy, that means that you don't deal with them when they're operating in their energy. And this might sound very silly, but I have a homegirl who is a principal, right? And she says when people would come into her office and she would feel that their energy was off, she'd be like, hold on now. It seemed like we got some attitude. I don't know. You feeling okay? No, okay. Come back when your attitude right. Come back. Come back when it's high vibes in this section right here. Come back when we can talk and it's calm and it's cool. And they go laugh and kiki and be like, "Oh, girl, you so silly." But she for real though. She for real though. She for real though. You really can't come back in her office until you got a different energy. She for real though. You get to determine how the interactions that you get to determine the participation that you give to interactions. So if you are coming from an energy of jealousy or energy of something else, I'm not giving you that. I'm not participating in it. I'll give you another perfect example that I had. It was I asked a question about something to men in a specific group, and one man's response immediately was like, "Well, I'm gonna say this because I'm not scared of y'all," and da 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 da, talking about women. I didn't even read the rest of his response. But I did respond to him and say, I would have loved to have read your response. But because I am a feminine woman and the aggression that was displayed within the first couple of sentences, I just could not stomach that. And I don't participate in aggressive conversations with men. I allow the men in my tribe, in my community, and in my life to handle such matters. So you're going to have to talk to them. He ain't like that. Because people don't like when you don't want to engage in their foolishness. No, I'm not telling you the best thing to do is to ignore them. The best thing to do is not participate in certain energetics. You understand? So if you are bringing me the energy of jealousy, what I'm going to say to you is, hey, it seems like right now is not the best time for us to have this conversation. So let's have this conversation when cooler heads prevail. And if we need to have a conversation and we can't seem to get there, then let's see if we can bring in a third party. See, people don't like when you want to put other eyes on them. People don't like when you make them play by your rules because you're not going to participate in their process. I'm not. And I'm going to get a witness in here just to be able to see, so you can determine how you want to act. So we got more than one eyes. We got more eyes on the scenario. Because what you're not going to do is corner me with this energy and then be able to take whatever you want to take from this and go give that experience to somebody else. No. I'm not participating in it. And if we are going to interact and it has to be that is the energy that you're committed to, then let's bring somebody else into it. Let's bring a non-biased party into the scenario. Let's do that. So no, I would never tell you to ignore them. I would most definitely tell you to become very rooted and confident and sure of yourself. And if you're not that, then most importantly, I would tell you to either get emotional foundations or love and nervous system if you feel like the issue is you being attached to an idea. But decide what energy that you're going to participate in. Real simple, real easy. And some people are like, well, I can't do nothing with it because I work with these people. Yes, you can. You always in control of yourself. So if you're from this type of perspective, let's just say you bring somebody in from HR, right? To look at the scenario, right? Of what's happening between you and this other party. That's fine. If you're not in the wrong, then you don't have anything to worry about. And if you feel like this is hostile, then the third party should be involved. Because we should document this process. Why not? Because we want to have a conversation, right? So that's how we deal with that, honey. You don't deal with them. I bring in the proper support to be able to monitor what's going on to make sure that things are being handled properly. Because like I said, people don't really like having a bunch of eyes on them, extra eyes on them. People like to act a fool a lot of times when they own their own one-on-one with you. So in those type of spaces, definitely think about that. Consider that. Let me see. I'm dealing with him. For our daughter, she's with him. Yeah, girl. Co-parenting is one of the things. Yes, and my mom always told me to document. Absolutely document. Every single time. Every single time. Any other questions? Any other questions? And congratulations to those who have um, gotten the emotional foundations. Because I can see that. It's a couple of y'all. And congratulations to those who are going to be joining me for the first session of the pattern interruption lab, which I'm so excited about because they've already gotten like their stuff to be able to look at certain patterns in their life, to be able to kind of assess and see like what's going on. So I'm really, really excited about the first session because pattern interruption is how you quantum jump. When you're really ready to change your life, pattern interruption is key. If you want to go from $100,000 to $500,000, pattern interruption is key. If you want to go from, having too much weight on you to actually having a healthy lifestyle, pattern interruption is required for you to make that quantum jump into a new body. So I'm supporting you with pattern interruption so that you can quantum jump. You just have to let me know what reality you want to jump into, and I'm going to get you there in the next 28 days. That's what we're working towards. You're going to have the things that you need to be able to position yourself for what it is that you're looking for. Because in order to break the loop, one must interrupt the pattern. Okay? All right, y'all. I'm not seeing any more questions, and I got to get out of here. Click the link in the bio for any products, services, anything like that. To those in the Pattern Interruption Lab, I'll be sending you guys a message in a bit. I have to make a run really quick, but after that, I'm going to be sending you guys a message. So I'm super, super excited. So come on in to the Pattern Interruption Lab, or come on in to Substack, or come on in over there on my YouTube, or come on in to any of those courses or anything that will support you during this time. Okay. All right, y'all. Y'all have an amazing, amazing day. Peace.